there are assignments where in addition to the appraisal, we are asked to do a rent survey and an operating income statement. The rent survey is another name for the 1007 form, and it is used for single-family homes and condos, and it looks exactly the same in both situations. And then there is the 216 operating income statement, which is used for single-family homes and condos, and it's also used for duplexes, 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 units, or 4 units. And so what you need to do is after you've done your appraisal, you're going to search for rental comps. And ideally, you're going to get 3 closed rental comps as best as possible, and then you're going to populate the form accordingly. So I'm going to populate based on what I found, and then we'll discuss. So I found some rental comps. Ideally, you'll have 3 closed. They do not have to be model matches, but you can use a listing if you have to. And actually, a listing might be good because it'll show the current supply of what's available. This is not a UAD form, but we try to keep as compliant with UAD as possible. So you're going to get the lease date right from the MLS. And basically you're looking for the date the lease starts, July 2022, and then you're looking how long the lease is. Lease term minimum 12 months. This does not record in Monsoon. It's not a public transaction. This is a transaction between the landlord and the tenant. So you're putting the monthly rent there, the MLS number, and then you're going to populate everything else accordingly. So the next question is, how are adjustments derived? They're derived very much like your form for doing the appraisal. However, there's a lot fewer fields. In this case, they're identical in view and design, age. We have 1 less bathroom on this. So the next question is, how much per month? Because we're trying to find the monthly market rent. How much would a tenant pay for an extra half bathroom? It's nominal at best, but I'm going to put a number here to acknowledge that there's a difference there. There's these other fields here where you could put things that distinguish the two, like the subject versus the comp 1. We might have a 1-car garage, they might have a 2-car garage. We might have been just remodeled, they might have been just remodeled. So I'm going to just show you as an example. We have a 2-car garage, they got a 1-car garage. Now, if you have a 2-bedroom unit, 1-car garage, it's like you and a roommate. You both have cars, so who gets to use the garage? It's going to be a bit inconvenient to not have a second stall. So a typical tenant would probably pay more to have a second garage stall. So then the question is, how much would a tenant typically pay for that second stall? I'm just going to put a number in here, say it's $50 per month to have their own parking space. And now we have our adjusted comparable 1 here. You're going to repeat this with all 3 of your rental comps. There should be no reason why you need more than 3. Some properties have utilities and furniture included, but it's rare. I typically leave those blank. Rent concessions, same thing. You would find that within the MLS listing, but it's not very common. So anyways, based on that, you're going to have that comp and the other comp, all 3. Then you have to populate this. It's very self-explanatory. Explain the trend, whatever your boilerplate might be. I'm just going to leave this here. Very few rentals, this size, blah, blah, blah. You just have to really customize it and explain how you got your adjustments, the rental vacancy rate, trends and whatnot, and then your final reconciliation. Say you only have this comp that's the same as ours. This one's 900 square feet. This one's 1,500 square feet. You're going to just say most weight given to comp 1. And then why? Don't just put that, but explain why you're giving all your weight to that. It's the most recent. It's the most similar. It's within the same project. And then you're going to put your market rent here, whatever that might be. So that's how to do the 1007. Once that's done, and hopefully the rest of your report's done, then you're going to add the location map, because the location map is going to need to have the rental comps on there as well. This will populate automatically once that's done. So the next thing is the operating income statement. Operating income statement is populated based on partially what you observed and partially on the rent survey. So is it rented? No. Expiration date, it defaults to blank. Put NA. There is no rent. So you're going to put the market rent $1,800. And then the next question is, what utilities are paid by each of these? Someone's got to pay the electricity, typically the tenant. There's no gas in this situation. Oil and fuel are back east. Water and sewer, trash removal. So I'm saying that those are paid by the tenant, not the owner. If they're the opposite, then you mark that. So now, right here, the gross annual rent, you're going to click here and it asks, do you want to go by the current rent or the market rent? If it's tenant occupied and they got another year on their lease, you're going to go with the current rent because they told you what the rent is. But in this case, it's vacant, and here's the market rent. Now, the next question is vacancy. And typically, a property is vacant for a period of time between tenants. It could be a day, it could be a month, it could be 3 months. This is why you need to be able to see how the market is going. And in this case, I'm going to say the typical vacancy time is 2 weeks, which is approximately 3%, or whatever it might be. You put this in according to what your research tells you. Electricity, we're going to put tenant. Gas, there's no gas, but you'd put tenant if they pay for it. We're basically repeating these check boxes up here. Water, sewer. Now, if it's paid by the owner, say for instance, trash removal, and you know what that is, and you say, oh, it's $25 a month. What's 25 times 12? 300. So we know that trash removal is 300 per year. Okay, and basically just go down all these. I typically have these pre-populated from other times I've used these. Casual labor, don't worry about that, because these next fields, casual labor, interior paint and decorating, general repairs and maintenance, those are all essentially done by the same person. You get a problem with your place, you call a handyman who repairs, might paint it, fix things. So interior paint and decorating, I've always gone with this. Between tenants, you typically paint. And so that number, which I've used forever, is 0.025%, I'm sorry, 2.5% of this number here. So you have to manually calculate it. And this is saying that, hey, the owners better set aside $524 because that's how much they have to spend painting the place each year when they have new tenants. General repairs and maintenance, plumbing leak, HVAC doesn't work. There might be years where you have no problems, and there might be years when you have tons of problems. And so they're saying, hey, you better set aside this much per year. The owners better set aside this much per year in case those things happen. You get 5 years of no problems, you're going to have $5,000 saved up, and then you have a $5,000 problem, and then you have that money bankrolled already. Management expenses, a lot of people self-manage, but I typically go with $100 a month. So that's $1,200 per year. Supplies, this number includes supplies. It's not just the labor, so I just put included in general repairs. Then it has this replacement reserve, which is not done here. It's done on the next page. So right now we're saying that the operating expenses each year is $2,443. So we're going to go to this page, and this is why it's important to look at appliances and other features on the home to really judge the condition and quality of them so you could fill this out. So we're going to look at photos. We got a stove, we got a microwave. I know there's a dishwasher, I saw it there. We got ceiling fans, we got fireplace. I'm just talking out loud. We have carpeting here, vinyl flooring here, carpeting here. And so, here's the water heater here, washer, dryer. I'm only pointing this out because I have to observe it. So the range there, you look at it and you go, oh, it's a GE, this type. You can go to Home Depot and look it up and go, oh, that thing costs $500. And it was pretty darn good. So I'd say it's going to last another 10 years. You know that based on experience. First time you own a range and it goes out, you go, wow, that lasted me 12 years. And you might research and Google and find out the average lifespan of something like that is 10 years. Refrigerators, personal property, Dishwasher is also about 510 years. There's one of them. If it's a duplex, this number is going to be 2. If it's a fourplex, it's going to be 3. AC units, there's 2 parts of the AC. There's the condenser, which is outside the building. And then there is the, the air handler. This is the condenser. The air handler is oftentimes in the attic. And they're 2 parts. And so I'm going to say the AC unit, 3,000, about another 10 years. There's one of them, personal property, even though I saw them there. Hot water heater, it was a small one. Don't just go with 10 on these. You have to go with what you've observed. This happens to be what I'm asserting for this assignment here. Furnace, I didn't see it, but they're typically about 2010, one of those. Others, built-in microwave, so I'm going to put microwave here. All right, roof, that's something you're going to have to figure out, but in this situation, it's a condo, so I'm not populating that. Now, this next thing is why I was pointing out the carpet. This is an 1,100 square foot home. It's got a living room and 2 bedrooms with carpeting, which I've calculated out to be about 600 square feet. And you'll notice that this says 600, this says total square yards. To determine yards, you get the number of feet, in this case 600, divide manually by 9, and I get 67 yards. And I know that it's inexpensive. I'm putting $11. It's kind of close to the end of its useful life, so 5 years. And now what that does is it's putting all this information into here. And now watch what happens. You go back to this page, and it populated this total replacement reserves. And then the total operating expenses. So this number here adds this, I believe this also. And that is the total replacement reserve. So the owners should be setting aside about $3,300 per year because that's how much it would cost to maintain this residence. So now I populated that. You fill out this here, appraiser's comments, and you say replacement costs are based on units currently in place. Home has 2 bedrooms and living room with carpeting. Boom, this is exactly what I observed here. Air conditioners, water heaters, and roof appear to have been adequately maintained. But you're going to customize it. Roof maintained by development and covered in HOA dues. All right. What's going to happen is that the underwriter is going to, lender/underwriter is going to populate this based on their own observations, their own tools they might use, and they're hopefully going to come up with a number similar to ours. They're going to fill this out as well. So again, this is how you do the rent survey and the operating income statement. Now that I've done this, you can, again, do your location map after you've done the rental survey and populate this as best you can. Thank you.